You're tuned into News Across the Galaxy, where they talk all things LA Galaxy with the Nag Boys. Let's start nagging.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the season finale of News Across the Galaxy. We'd like to take a moment here to recognize some of the Nag Boys with some awards. Social Media Manager of the Year, Bryant Lobos. Bryant wins by default because nobody else met the criteria. Congrats, Bryant. Yes, I see. And then Producer of the Year, Chuyaso. Again, nobody met the criteria. Congrats, bro. By default. Graphic Designer of the Year, Tony. Tony Royale. Statistician of the Year, Spenny. And Willis is just the humanitarian, I guess, or whatever, of the year. But the prestigious Nag Boy of the Year, thank you so much for all the work you've put in, not only for News Across the Galaxy and the LA Galaxy, but the league around. If it was for me, this guy would be the MLS Podcast of the Year. I don't give a fuck what the internet says. This guy has done so much work and connected this league like no other. Edgar, first ever Nag Boy of the Year. Speech.
Thank you.
Yeah!
Thank you, everyone. I'd like to thank, first of all, I thank Eddie and Brian and Chewy and Spenny and Tony and everyone that's a Night Boy. But secondly, I'd like to thank everyone from across the league, because without this league, we would not have MLS. We would not have all those wonderful people that we talk to every week. And now we're looking forward to the playoffs. We're going to have our good friend Matt Pollard joining us. So look forward to that. But for now, do we have to talk about this game?
Well, Brian, get us on the way if we can hear him. All right, mic's not working. Let me give this a try. Brian, you there? You're live? Dodgers. Well, if you're in the chat, you can see we have technical difficulties. So take a wild guess who was having these technical difficulties. Welcome to News Across the Galaxy. We talk all things LA Galaxy. My name's Eddie. As always, I got the mute boy over there. What's up, Brian?
What it do? Am I fixing
there he is. All right, there you go. Take over. Do the intro again. Run it back.
To News Across the Galaxy. We talk all things again.
No, you're good now. Yeah. Run it back. First, okay. Acknowledge Edgar and his award, and then do it.
I acknowledge you as the Nag Boy of the Year. All right. Well, welcome to News Across the Galaxy, where we talk all things LA Galaxy. I am joined tonight by my two hosts. First, we'll start off with Eduardo. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great, bro. Everything's good. You know what? Celebrating 8 months today.
Hey, congratulations, man. Hell yeah. Congratulations. I love that.
Yeah, 8 months of sobriety, which is awesome. So life is good. God is good. And, you know, Vanny's a genius, bro. He put us on the right path.
And my second co-host, as you guys heard earlier, Nag Boy of the Year, Mr. Edgar Zuniga. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm feeling a lot better today than I was 24 hours ago. But I mean, seriously, like I when I got home, I was kind of bummed out, and then I looked at the bracket and I was like, you know what? It's not so bad after all. And then today, of course, the Dodgers, they put the Mets out of their misery. We don't have to hear about Grimace anymore. Now we just got to hear about the Yanks. And you know what I got to say about that? I got to say this, baby. More than Yanks.
Moita them Yanks.
Go.
Moida.
Moita. Yeah, see? Yeah, yeah.
Antonio Banderas, shameless plug. That shirt is too sexy. My eyes, es too sexy. So yeah, these shirts from the minds of the Nag Boys will be available on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. Spoiler alert! It looks like the first playoff game will take place Saturday night. Looks like at 8 p.m. And we'll be there. We'll fill you guys with details if you guys are interested. Maybe a third color. We'll see. The Nag Boys got to talk about it.
Right now is the good old blue and white, as you guys can see. Quiero el sexo. I mean, sexto. Quiero sexo, whatever. You guys get the pun. These are dope. So hopefully you guys can catch us up and get some of these shirts.
And
All
get
right,
and
boys.
get your sexto.
Yeah, get your sexto on. All right, boys. Let's do some housekeeping. But first, we got a super chat from Adam. Any thoughts on the stoppage time? Was it right?
We'll get back.
We'll get back to that.
Yeah.
Before that, let's do a little housekeeping. I don't know if you guys caught anything from yesterday to today. Anything you guys want to talk about specifically before we get into the game? Because I'm pretty sure none of us want to get into this match. But there are some things around the league. I know, Edgar, you had a couple things before we got on that you wanted to talk about. Please expand on your thoughts.
Yeah. As Eddie said, we have a lot of good friends from around the league now. One of our good buddies, who is a big STL fan, he covers St. Louis City. He goes by Mo Football, and he recently actually put together a collaboration with Olive in York and Josh Yarrow and the Josh Yarrow Foundation, and it's a kit that supposed to represent African heritage. And if you purchase this kit, all profits of the 2025 season will go to the Josh Yarrow Foundation, which supports a school building project in Ghana. So I put a link for that up in my Twitter feed if you guys want to check that out and check out the kit. It's not that expensive. It's $49. It's a really nice looking kit. If you look at it, it's supposed to represent the baobab, which is a massive tree that has a lot of significant spiritual significance in African culture. So I would suggest checking it out. And then, but maybe you want to buy one, you'll know that you're donating to a really good cause. So, yeah, that's what I got to say. Pass it on to Eddie.
Now your mic is off. Ha!
Oh yeah,
Now.
technology. I was typing. I have a loud ass keyboard, but yeah, I got nothing. Brian, back to you.
Well, actually, I have nothing either. I thought the housekeeping would have been a little bit more extensive, but I say we just get into this game.
Sexist shirt.
Yeah. We sell shirts that say sex in it. So if you guys want one, join us where, Eddie?
Somewhere in the parking lot. We'll figure it out.
All right.
Stay tuned.
All right, boys. The LA Galaxy on what's today's date? Today's the 20th. The LA Galaxy on a Saturday, October 19th, travel to Houston to take on the 5th place Houston Dynamo. A match that a lot of us feel that every time it comes down to a decision day and we play this team, it never favors the LA Galaxy. And spoiler alert, it didn't favor us this time around either. Let's go with the starting lineup.
Oh, before you get into that, real quick,
Yes.
because it's a good seg to what I spoke to our good buddy from Keeping Tabs. Remember Colin
Yes.
Toro?
Shout out to Colin.
We had Colin Toro come on. He has a podcast called Keeping Tabs where he covers Houston Dynamo. And before I went on, I actually did some research, and I was like, why do we have such a weird fascination with playing Houston on decision day? And why do people look at it like it's Friday the 13th, right? And I actually looked at the statistics, and the LA Galaxy has actually done very good against Houston in recent years. You have to go back as far as 2018 and 2019 when they actually did affect the LA Galaxy's playoff futures and on decision day. So that was what, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's still the fact that it's still lingering in our minds all these years. And so I said, maybe it's just all smoke and mirrors. Maybe it's just an illusion, right? But
Mhm.
no. And that's why I posted the whole thing with Freddy Krueger because, man, did it come back to really bite us? Oh my god.
But
Um,
it's always been like strange games if you really think about it. Like you could even take it from the original San Jose, like this franchise, moving the whole like the playoff fucking thing, the final against them, the lights out game when
oh
they were
yeah.
dude. It's always strange with this team. So
I want to say that on top of that, we always remember the bad over the good, and those two instances when they beat us in 18 or whatever it was in those years, they hurt, especially because we were struggling for a very long time, and having 10 years of not being this good, having those two losses against the team on decision day, it hurts us. Another thing that I wanted to point out, and I'm glad that Eddie mentioned the rebrand of San Jose into Houston. We had that chat with Colin, and he mentioned that in Houston, they see us as a big rival. They don't like the LA Galaxy. And I made a short little clip of a reason why they wouldn't like us. It was the 2011 MLS Cup final, played at Home Depot Center. We beat them. Next year, the rematch, 2012, back at the Home Depot Center. We beat them again. And that comes from that San Jose that team, right? Dwayne De Rosario played for Houston. I hate that guy. I hated him there. I hated him in San Jose.
such a
So
baller.
so this is such a
He
baller.
was a great baller, dude.
But
But
and so
damn,
this is
he
this
hurt
is the
us.
thing. Edgar was surprised when Colin mentioned that they see us as a big rival because maybe we don't see them as a big rival. Do you think that's a fair assessment, Eddie? That we don't see them as our rivals, how they
Yeah,
do us?
yeah. It's just a strange game. I'll compare it to the fucking Bobcats and the Lakers. You remember that? No
Yeah,
matter no matter how good the Lakers were or bad the Lakers were, the fucking Bobcats, dude. Right? So I compare it to them, and it's just like the Lakers. You're the Galaxy. People want to be your rivals, right? They circle their calendar when they play the Galaxy. It comes with the territory, bro.
yeah.
So there's probably other teams that see us as rivals, and we're like, oh shit, we forgot you even existed.
I mean, and there's also it did not hurt that I mean it didn't help that the whole thing between the Dodgers and the Astros in the World Series and how the Astros got caught cheating and all of baseball hated the Houston and then in the run to the World Series in 2020. I don't know if you guys remember one of the Dodgers pitchers named Joe Kelly. He actually beamed one of the Astros players, and he almost like knocked the other guy down, and they were about to come to blows, and so um, I'm sure that Houston people really don't like LA at this point, and so for them going into this game, they're like, yeah, let's get these bastards.
Yeah, and
So
well,
Dude, and what is it? We've only beaten Houston what 4 times since 2019,
well, I mean
and and that's home and away. Like, come on, like that's bad.
but there's only one loss in there in that whole thing. Oh, and on top of all that, just to add more spice to this whole thing, remember at the end of last season when we played these guys? I remember Douglas Costa like threw that dude down, and they all came to blows. And then that was that game, right? Which was really stupid for Douglas Costa to do that. And then the last time these two teams played each other, at the end of the game, Ben Olsen went after Ricky Puig, and they almost came to going at it. So like, damn, Houston, chill, man.
It works for them though. Obviously, maybe
Yeah,
we should see it as a rival because they get up for this game.
yeah,
I mean, if
I
we
think
run into them in the playoffs, we'll definitely have to see them as a rival again.
hopefully not because decision day has kind of been tainted with that team. Before we get into the starting lineup, there's another super chat from Adam, $5 super chat. Thank you once again, Adam. The only good thing about second is that we got Rapids. Plus, Galaxy got the Saturday night game. First place team got the Sunday game.
Yeah.
I don't think it. Well, wait. Before we get into the lineup, do you think that matters position wise?
We can save that for the end because it's kind of
Okay,
there. Vanny's
Yeah.
a mastermind. That's all I'm saying.
put another pin in that. All right. Well, let's get into the starting lineup. That
Well, how did we feel going into this game? Is actually what we usually do first. So,
oh, so we were talking about our feelings already about fuck
oh,
Houston, fuck the Astros.
cool.
Actually, I felt like a sense of anticipation. Like I was like really, I saw it as like, a lot needs to go wrong for the Galaxy to fall out of first, I kind of had the same feelings of as the U.S. going into the game in Trinidad, where I was like, a lot of things have to happen for the U.S. not to qualify for the World Cup, and then they all did, right, in dramatic fashion. It's kind of like that, except that Galaxy still got into the playoffs. But damn, did everything come to pass like when you least like the way you did not want it to happen?
What about you, Eddie? What was your feeling going into
Oh
this match?
shit! Don't yell at
Holy
me, Brian.
crap, dude! You're
But
getting hot,
I'm
bro.
way back here.
Damn, hot mic.
What is going on? Okay, how did you feel, Eddie?
Damn. Take it easy. Uh, how did I feel? Well, creeped out now, but
How you feel, Eddie?
going
Hey,
into going into the game, though, it's Houston, right? It's like I guess expect the unexpected. That's what it was, and I felt anxious and just not really confident. And I never felt confident. I never felt confident when we tied, even if it's so late in the game, which we'll get into later. But just it's fucking Houston, dude. How are you supposed to feel? Fucking Bobcats, same colors too. God damn it. Uh-oh, freeze boy.
uh-oh. Oh my goodness. Okay,
Uh,
well,
Nice to
um, I,
meet you.
I will say this too. I did feel also like a sense of excitement because I know I was there. I mean, you, Eddie, and
Yeah,
Chewy, we were at the York to watch the watch party along with
I was
Guti.
nowhere.
Okay, you were
Chewy's at
nowhere.
the York.
Yeah, we were all at the York,
I seen
right?
him.
And to watch the game, and there was a lot of excitement there. Like a lot of people were, there was kind of like a little buzz in the crowd. Everybody's excited, looking forward to an exciting matchup. And I mean, it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, but it was just nice seeing all these G's come together and have a good time. Despite the score. Um, but Brent,
Uh,
you back?
get a little ahead of ourselves, but nope, Brian's still not back. I'll do the starting lineup.
I think I'm back.
Go for it.
Oh, there you go. Go for it, Brian.
Okay. So now we do the starting lineup.
Yes, this is your show. Fool. Do whatever you want. Unless you fuck up, then I'll tell you.
Well, the thing is, I don't know what's going on. My computer it's got me
It's like
all.
it's acting
It's
like the
Daniel
Galaxy in
Steres, huh?
Houston.
See, decision day. It has everybody messed up. All right, let's go with the starting lineup. Of course, a goal, John McCarthy. Your center back pairings, Maya Yoshida and Emiro Garces. Out left, a surprising, or we'll see. I'll ask you guys in a bit. Julian Alde out left, Mickey Yamane out right. The trio center mids, Edwin Cerillo, Ricky Puig, and Marco Royce. Up top, Joseph Paintsill, Gabriel Peck, and Dejan Jovelik. Julian Alde. Was this the game for him to start? I'll start with you, Edgar.
It was kind of interesting to see him get the start because we've come to rely on Johnny Nelson so much. So I figured it's kind of odd, right? But I mean, at some point we were expecting to see him come back. I don't know about as a starter in a game of this magnitude. Um, so that was kind of a surprise for me. But maybe Johnny Nelson has a knock that we don't know about. A lot of times, players get injured and it's not reported. Maybe he's just needs a little rest. He's been playing almost every game. So we did see him at some point, but for Julian out there to get the start like this, I don't know. What do you think, Eddie?
Are you guys cool with me just packaging the whole lineup because I think it's kind of important.
All right, go for it.
So I just think there was mistakes left and right. You had Royce who's coming back. He no matter how much of a pro he is, the injury he's coming back from, and the intensity that this game needed, and the speed of the game. You had Paintsill who was came out with the same type of injury, right? And then Alde, right, who hasn't been starting, and all of a sudden you want to start this guy. It's like we basically showed our hand early, and we left no options in the bench in case we needed a goal or some kind of player to come in and make a difference. I think it was bad all around, all those starters, because we've done it before, right? You had Fagundes, you had obviously Nelson.
Well, in this case, we were talking to Spenny in one of the group chats, and he had mentioned that he feels that Vanny probably put this lineup out because this is, on paper, the best lineup that the LA Galaxy has, and that's the LA Galaxy lineup that you want to have maybe starting the postseason. Unfortunately, this starting lineup didn't play well at all. Not just the first half, the whole game. When Royce was in there, everything was just he looked very slow. He looked like he belongs in a 40+ Sunday League team because he didn't look sharp at all. With Julian Alde, can't really say I could complain much about him, particularly in his first half. But I think Johnny Nelson has done more of a solid job defensively that we've been able to rely on him more often than not. And I think he's probably earned that starting position over Julian Alde this season. Aside from that, everybody, I mean, it was a shit half. Let's be honest. Edgar, what are some things that stood out to you on the positive side, and some things that stood out to you on the negative side in his first half?
Positive side?
There has to be
I
some
don't know.
positives.
I mean, um, one of my first observations and was that it didn't seem like the LA Galaxy had any kind of sense of urgency. I can't really think of a positive, to be honest, because we've gotten so accustomed to this team being such a second half team. um, you would think in a game like this, which is kind of like the beginning of the playoffs, because there was obviously there were playoff implications involved, right? You want to finish in first, the at least on the visual aspect of it, to finish in the top of the Western Conference would have been really good. It's something that I discussed over the week with some other podcasters. Was Yeah, you want to finish ahead of LAFC because, well, there's the whole pride thing, right? Yeah, you could, for the rivalry, be like, hey, we finished ahead of you guys. But at the same time, when you look at where LA Galaxy was a year ago, to have finished in first place at the top of the Western Conference, like, what a huge climb. But at the same time, you go watch how they play in the first half. Where was that sense of urgency? We saw it here and there, but I can't really think of many positives. I don't know, Eddie. Did you see anything? 'Cause
Uh, no, not really. Echoing what you said, right? There's more negative to get than positive out of it. It's we didn't look like we don't look playoff ready, right? You talk about intensity, like the intensity was not there, not there, and that should be a little bit alarming for fans. Houston was ready. Houston looked like a team that was ready for playoffs. I guess if you want, stupid Chewy. I guess if you want some kind of positives, some silver lining, and I mean, it's not meant to be funny, but given the people he started, we walked away with no injuries.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
that's what I could come up with.
that's big. I mean, you also have a name here written down in the first half who had a save, and I know I've said this before and kind
I
of
mean, I mean that's like a play though. If you talk about a play, yeah, that's a positive. But like an overall positive, no, that I don't have one. A play, yeah, That was a great play by Yoshida, right? That save that Yoshida did off the line.
Yeah,
That
and
that massive head works for something.
and that's what I was gonna get into, because I know I've joked around and talked about Yoshida's, you know, bigger than regular sized cranium, but in this case, I mean, this should have been one of those plays that you see your defender, your captain, putting his head on the line to keep you guys at zero. Wouldn't you want to go out there and give a better performance offensively?
Yeah.
Because you also have here a stat that Gabriel Peck was getting no type of service. And does it come down to the fact that Royce was just out of it, or is it something else? Eddie, let me start with you.
Desperate, right? It comes down to that, and I'll make it short because it's gonna sound like the Ricky hate, but that's the situations where I thought that Royce was gonna unlock Ricky. The desperate situations is where Ricky shows his worst, and I think it's a combination of that. Maybe Ricky was frustrated with Royce because Royce couldn't, you know, keep up with the pace of the game. So I think it was a lot of that. I mean, I think Houston gave a lot of attention to Peck as well, but then that should have unlocked other players too. So that still goes into the middle. That still goes into to Ricky and Royce for not finding the open space. So I'm just gonna say it's just like there's some kind of no urgency, no intensity, but there was desperation, which is not good.
And I mentioned this to you, Eddie, too. Was a lot of people haven't really noticed that Houston has a good defense. They have the second least amount of goals allowed in the Western Conference. And when the conversation for goalkeeper of the year comes up, people always mention, "Oh, there's Christian Kalina. Um, well, he should be the one." Or people, Peter, mention, Pitar Musa at FC Dallas, but nobody ever talks about Houston, right? Man, the guy had nine. He had nine clean sheets this year, and the Houston defense. They don't. I don't think they get as much credit as they do because, well, Houston isn't a sexy name like Inter Miami or like LAFC, right? Um, and so maybe it's something that we should take into consideration as this game was going on because the Houston. I mean, the game wasn't pretty, right, Eddie? Like we were talking like this is not at least the first half. It was not like exciting soccer, exciting football, right? It was just like the guys are going through the motions, but there's
But
nothing really happening.
here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, right? You want to give credit to their defense, right? But we're supposed to be the team fighting for first place, and what happens? And you know what's crazy? It's like Vanny's peers, dude. It's always like Frazier, fucking I forgot this game. Wolf, Josh Wolf. Now it's dude,
Ben Olsen.
now it's Ben Olsen. Like Vanny gets out coached by like certain people in certain situations. So we're the team fighting for first place. So I don't want that. A great defense, fucking keeper of the year bullshit. I'm not gonna excuse it at all. I think we were desperate, and I think we were making bad decisions, and like it just showed, dude. Just don't make excuses for this team because the route can go through Houston again, and you're
Oh,
gonna make
don't
that
say
excuse
that.
again.
Don't say that, because that'll be really tough. One thing that during the week, Greg Vanny had mentioned is they had asked him about the potential minutes that Marco Royce might be getting, and he gave two answers. He said either I play him in the beginning or I play him in the end, but either way, we're going to try to get him some run in order to get him the ready playoffs. Of course, we forgot to mention that Mark Delgado was out this game with yellow card accumulation. Ha, I see the yellow guy. Super chewy. Producer of the year, everyone. um, so that could have been it. Let's keep it real. That could have been a handicap for this LA Galaxy squad. We saw in this match that Marco Royce is not ready, especially in the playoff where the intensity goes up tenfold. If he's going to come in that sloppy, we should have Mark ready to go, ready to start, because this game against Houston, It was ugly the whole match. And it's particular in his first half. He did not look like he should have been starting. Um, of course, the LA Galaxy concede at the 44th minute, almost to the half, going 0-0, and then we get scored on. Uh, by the way, Steres assisted with that goal.
I had to look back. I had to look back because I saw that he got credited for it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that fuck you. That's not
Well,
real.
it was just a
Yeah,
scramble in the box,
yeah. But
and in
anyways,
that one, go ahead.
but what a perfect picture to paint, like for like us that aren't convinced that this can be like a championship team.
Yeah,
Everything was there. The fucking out coaching, the bad lineups, the bad subs, the set piece goals,
Lack of
yeah,
urgency.
lack of urgency, what we do when we're desperate. It all was there in this game. It was
Yeah.
just
and
it was a buffet of proof. Here you go.
yeah,
So
proof that you guys are ready for playoffs. And another person in his first half, this thing stood out to me the most because Joseph Painso is one of the LA Galaxy's DPs and who started off the season very hot as in many eyes of the Galaxy fans, MVP candidate. He has slowed down drastically from his injury.
Mhm.
In this match in particular, he had beat his guy on a sprint, and I think Ricky hit him where he hit him on a stride, and he was basically one on one with the goalkeeper. If that's Gabriel Peck, he buries that in back of the net. Uh, Joseph Painsil, what do we need from him? What does he need to do to get back in form, Edgar?
he needs some rest, dude. Throw that guy into a Bacta tank. Just like the entire offseason. Just like don't talk to him. Just leave him there. Like I mentioned, I actually dug deep to see how long he's been playing. And when I looked through his statistics, this guy has been playing nonstop for 18
Yeah,
months.
yeah,
18 months. I mean, I don't care how young you are, how fit you are. Eventually, that's going to catch up to you. Even with the breaks, right in between, you get a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, maybe you've been injured. I mean, injuries are part of fatigue. So that's what we saw. He was so hot coming in because the guy was, he was in good form at the time, and then but then eventually, like MLS, man, MLS is a slog. That whole season of traveling across the country, people think it's not that bad because they're so used to traveling like in Europe, which is smaller destinations, right? Especially if you play for one of the those European nations, you don't have to travel that far. But when you go across the United States and you have to change time zones and then you have to go to different environments where some places are humid, some places are cold, and all that, that wears on you. And I'm sure at this point, Joseph Pincio is like running on fumes and like he's just waiting for like the season to end and hopefully ends on a high note. But yeah, this dude is probably gonna sit down somewhere like in a cold bathtub and just relax, man, because he needs it. That's why I'm really excited to see how he's gonna do next season because I feel like at this point he's completely spent. But he still has something to contribute, right? So maybe he'll
yeah.
do something spectacular in the playoffs.
I would hope so. We will need this guy. I know we have a solid backup in Diego Fagundes, but what Joseph Painter provides is not common in MLS in general. This guy has a lot of speed. He could be burning everybody and anybody in his league. It just seems that when it comes to the final third, well, in this later stretch after that injury, he hasn't been sharp, and it's something that hurt us in this match because we could have been up
Well,
1-0 in this match
well,
early.
it's not just the speed aspect too, because obviously his speed, his reaction time has kind of slowed down, but it's also being able to finish, right? Um, some of the times that we saw him get the ball and shoot, it was directly at the goalkeeper. It's like, buddy, pick your spot. Try to fire to the far post or try to squeak it by the near post. Don't just fire it at the goalkeeper because that's the first thing you see. A lot of times when you're really tired, that's the first thing you see. That's what you do. You fire it at the goalkeeper, right? Because you don't have that processing power that in your mind where you're like okay, I'm gonna shoot the ball over here and I'm gonna fire it because it's supposed to be automatic. But when you're tired, you just want to do something, anything, and you fire the ball, and the first thing he sees is the goalkeeper, and that's where it goes. And so um, that's where it becomes kind of a detriment because you're thinking to yourself, okay, maybe you're not running fast, but can you at least put the ball on frame somewhere where the goalkeeper isn't?
Yeah, to me, it's just one of in that particular play. You hardly get those second chances in playoffs, especially in the later rounds. You have to bury those, and we're gonna need this man informed to kind of give or relieve Gabriel Peck, Ricky Puig from from all the pressure they're gonna be receiving in the playoffs. Hopefully, it changes, but we'll see. Second half starts 10 minutes in. Our guy Joseph Paintil gets yellow, and he was actually he was just getting into scuffles throughout that whole second half. Uh, Eddie, that second half started. Were you confident that the LA Galaxy was going to come back and
No,
maybe steal a point away?
no, that's it. No,
Damn, Eddie, come
no,
on.
I never, nothing. Okay, and it's like, it was just too many. It was too many times, right? Like being the second half team coming back and against Houston, right? And then Edgar in my ear. Oh, we've never lost with this ref. Hey, little guy. We've never we've never lost with this ref, you know. And then too many factors. And then Levas were like losing at some point, and it was just in the back of my mind the whole time. Like MLS is gonna MLS. It's gonna happen, right? We're gonna end up in second. Like at this point, like it has to happen. And then, early on, we get the Painsil, goal banger by Painsil. I'm like, all right, maybe not today. Maybe this is a new galaxy. But then a little controversy, and
uh, VAR. VAR. Edgar, in that VAR call, was that a legitimate goal?
It did not look like a foul at all. It just happened to be like Yoshida uh, got there at the exact same time,
real
and
quick, Edgar, and then you
yeah,
continue. You know why? Because it wasn't a foul. That's why it didn't look like a foul. Because it was not a fucking foul. I'm sorry, but it's clear and obvious. The call on the field was a goal. That was not a fucking foul. Go ahead. Sorry for yelling.
took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say that it didn't look like a foul because it wasn't a foul. So I'm sure at that point, Don Garber is in the referee's ear and he's like, I don't care if they've never lost with you. Like put the fix in. God damn it. Do it now. Like Michael Cole is like, oh no. um, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, at that point, it happened and it was a very popular decision. Um, and damn, you just gotta deal with it, and you hope that the team can bounce back. But I know as much as we say that they're a second half team, as every minute was wearing on, I kept thinking to myself, "Oh my God, they're actually gonna bottle this," because we were also score watching, and we were watching what was going on over there at the stank, and then we saw that the Smurfs had been winning. Everybody was like, "All right, we're cool," and then the inevitable happened, and then it became worse. And at that point, we're like, "Oh my God, we're tied. we're tied on points and goals." And damn, um, yeah, it was butt clench time, man.
Yeah, a lot of cheeks were clenched throughout the stadium in Houston, specifically in the LA Galaxy section. I know my cheeks were clenched here watching it at home. And it wasn't great soccer from the beginning of the second half. It didn't get exciting till the end of the second half. But before we get into that, I'm going to do some substitution calls here. At the minute 69, Julian Alves comes out, Johnny Nelson comes in.
Giggity.
Marco Royce comes out,
Jackpot.
and Gaston Brugman comes in. I'm going to stop right there. At the 69th minute, seeing that your most veteran, most seasoned player on the pitch who hasn't had a great first half, you're gonna sub him out till the almost 70th minute, seeing that you need some points. You need a point at least if you want to clinch that first seed. Why was Greg
That's
Vanny
the
tripping again
position.
on this one?
That's the position he put himself in. Exactly what I mentioned earlier. It should have been backwards. You should have had Royce as an option to come in. Because I think if Brugman starts, good chance we're in the same situation. And then instead you get Royce to come in against players with tired legs. That he could keep up with. That's the option we needed. That's the option we needed off the bench. But we were in this situation because Vanny dropped the ball.
Yeah, and it's not that much of a knock on Vanny.
It
Well,
is.
it is on this match, and throughout the season we've had these complaints about him and his substitution patterns, not just this season, even last season. But the team has been playing well, and in such an important game, a brain fart like this. What do you think happened with Vanny in making that call that
Just
late, Edgar?
just real quick,
Yes,
real quick. Playoff tickets just dropped. If you're a season ticket member, you literally just dropped.
perfect,
All right.
perfect.
Thank you. That was that roar I heard in the background. Um,
Edgar, Vanny,
I
what's the
think
deal
a
with
lot.
Vanny?
I think a lot of times, Benny gets so caught up in watching the game that he realizes at a point. Oh yeah, I gotta make some subs. Hey, get so and so from the corner over here and bring him over here. Oh shit, what time? Oh, 69th minute. Oh man,
It could be one of those. But for me, I could
the
probably see that you have your old guy playing in there, um, and you want to see him play out of it. Could that be something that he was looking to see with Marco Royce, Edgar?
well, I know I agree with Eddie, man. I as good as it felt to see Marco Royce back on the pitch, I think it would have served him a lot better, done it a lot more of service, I guess, to have him come in later in the game, especially because we heard that it wasn't going to be a comfortable night in Texas. I mean, in Houston, it's going to be humid, it's going to be hot, and we already saw that Royce doesn't like that. He didn't like that in St. Louis. He's certainly not going to like it in Houston. So, um, but I don't know, man. Maybe maybe we're thinking like it's like everything is checkers, and all along Vandy's been playing 3D chess, and we just haven't seen it. And I say that because like we know now that we know the playoff bracket, we're like, yeah, it wasn't so bad, right? But at the time, you're thinking to yourself, damn it, Vanny, are you not playing your cards right?
Last 5 minutes of this match, it came down to the wire. In the 90 plus minute, Gabriel Peck scores a PK. And at that moment, we all thought, here we go. First place. I taste it. We are going to head into the playoffs, top of the West, by another brilliant performance by Gabriel Peck. Well, scoring wise, because this man keeps scoring every game. I don't know how. Eddie, after that PK was scored.
No, before the PK, ask Eddie how he felt about LA Galaxy lining up for a penalty kick.
First off, I'm very familiar with 3D chess. Got my got my slurm.
Slurm.
Um, I mean, it's it's a PK. It's a PK in Houston, right? Like, again, how more strange can these games get? PK, never confident in PK. We bury it, but on the other hand, we get news that Levas are up 3-1. It was gonna happen. It was always gonna happen, dude. It was always gonna happen. So I still didn't feel there was still a lifetime to play. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel confident even then.
And well, this kind of goes back to the question that Adam has sent about the extra time. Do you guys think it was fair that after that PK was shot, and I think he did the time was supposed to be +7, if I could recall that correctly, but he gave 10. And in those extra 3, that's when the LA Galaxy got. Yes, Eddie.
I'll take it. I actually went back and looked at it. It was accurate.
Yeah.
There's no controversy there. It was that time was legit. It was supposed to hit like 112. Mm-hmm.
Time
And the goal has
there
like
was
30
I think
seconds.
Paintsill was on the ground for a while too. There's a bunch of little things going on. um, but I just want to point something out. And damn it, there was somebody literally in my ear about this the entire time I was there, and I'm talking about Stephen Ma, our good friend from the Mighty Lars, Stephen Ma,
Shout
right?
out, Steven.
Yeah, Stephen Ma. Damn it, Stephen! Why you have to put this energy out there, bro? He actually at one point told me because he was at the bar next to me. He's like, you know what's gonna happen? You know what's gonna happen? That the game is gonna be tied, and Levas is gonna be winning their game, and then it's gonna look like we're gonna be winning the top of the West, and then at the last minute, and added time, we're gonna lose. We're gonna lose this game. And I was like, shut up, Steven. Why are you putting this energy out there?
I,
Shut up, bro.
I got this. This is for Steven.
He was right though.
He was right. And I was like, and he's like, but I'm a real people kept telling him, shut up, Steven. And he's like, why? Why are you so pessimist, Steven? And he's like, I'm not a pessimist, I'm a realist, damn it. I'm like, dude, no. But yeah, I mean, I'm laughing about it now because in the end it actually worked out for us. You think, right? You hope. Because going into this game, you're like, we only need a draw, right? And now you look at our next opponent and you're like, yeah, here's somebody we're very familiar with,
Yeah.
somebody that LA Galaxy handled this season, both at home and on the road. And you only hope that Kevin Cabral isn't healthy again, because if he comes back, you know that dude's gonna want to score on us again.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll get into that when the midweek show comes out. There's a lot of, I wouldn't say factors, but it seems that ex Galaxy players always like to score in the LA Galaxy, as you saw this weekend. Daniel freaking Steres, the Texas Steres Massacre, at the last minute, this man just towered over Maya Yoshida. He celebrated the goal with passion, which is
They, they literally started making love on the field after the goal.
but good for them. I mean, they won at home. They needed to do what they had to do to solidify their spot and face the opponent that they wanted to face. Something that we should have been doing. But like Eddie and Edgar mentioned, the 3D chess is looking mighty fine at this moment. We have another super chat from Adam. Thank you once again, Adam. I'm not sure if you guys went over this, but Fagundes could have and should have came in earlier in the game last night. Yeah. We mentioned this earlier about Roy saying it too long. And for me, I thought Fagundes would have been the first one to come out the bench for Marco Royce. I mean, we've seen Ricky and Fagundes play in that center, and it hasn't been a bad showing. So that would have been my pick. But anyway,
Wait,
yes.
not only that, but Fagundes he played in Texas. He's used to that environment.
Yeah.
He's used to to playing in that kind of atmosphere. And so you figured that he should have been in there. He could have been a factor. He got a nice little pop at the bar when he came in. But ultimately,
I,
uh,
I don't know. I don't know if I want. This is something to shit on Vanny for, right? So you mentioned Fagundes, and I remember something. We went through the first goal already, right? And what a fucking banger by Steres too. The placement that
Yeah.
pissed me off. When he scored a couple headers for us, but never was there like placement. And he almost scored from outside the box earlier in this game too.
yeah, at one
You
point
remember?
almost did.
So there's something that happened that kind of happened before against Portland, where Yamane didn't go close out Evander, right? And I think this was this was the game after Levas, right? So like, how do you keep your guys motivated? How do you guys get you guys up for these games? So this is a game that we needed at least a draw in, right? You need a draw, and there's a team that is fighting for placement, so is starting to push up. You have a fresh legs in Fagundes, and these Steres is up there, right? So obviously they're they're looking for a Hail Mary. Why the fuck isn't Fagundes pressing this guy with fresh legs that's crossing the ball?
Yeah.
Why isn't he putting any kind of pressure on him?
Everything was just lazy those last couple minutes.
But
Freely
again,
crossing, yeah.
but is it go to Vanny? Like get you
No.
guys up for this.
You
Get you
guys,
guys up. But I'm saying, like, he didn't get up for this game. They don't get up for certain. I don't know. Well, see, I'm mad again.
chill. Los Dodgers won, fool.
I don't give a fuck about baseball.
Arriba
You
los
know,
Dodgers.
arriba los Dodgers, güey. Another super chat from Adam. Will there be a playoff midweek show with Matt? Of course. We love having that guy on.
For the record, I thought the Dodgers were still in Brooklyn, bro.
Muere them Yanks.
Yeah. More
Yeah, see? Yeah. Anyway, this game ends 2-1 at the heartbreak and at the expense of all LA Galaxy fans. But was it that bad of a loss? And we'll go with these final thoughts for the overall game and overall season.
wait.
Yes, before we get there, go ahead.
We're skipping ahead. I just looked at my notes. There is a big thing that we need to point out here, and this is straight at you, Brian.
Yeah, I was gonna put that at the end of my thoughts.
Oh, go ahead then, and then I'll throw it back in your face.
Yeah, throw it back in my face later on. Well, for me, I gotta give G's and particularly Vanny and the coaching staff their flowers. From rags to riches, this team did a whole 180 from where we were last season, and they've been doing amazing. Aside from this Houston game, the LA Galaxy has had a very potent offense. You have your main players, your main DPs in double digits in scoring, some in assists. You have a Dejan Jovelik who he's been hungry to be the starter. He's had his fair share of goals with 15. All these guys are in double-digit goals. And on top of that, you end in second place. You still have home court advantage all the way to the conference finals, assuming that you're going to be playing LAFC. On top of that, the celebration that these MLS 360 dorks did when the LA Galaxy got eliminated. I hope, Ricky Pooge, I hope you're watching that video and showing it to the rest of the guys because it's G's against the world at this moment. And at this point, you guys need to get up and show everybody why you are the five-time MLS champion. And you know what? Quiero el sexto. We want the six.
Finn 14 Staples.
And the and show the league that if it wasn't for you, MLS would not be in the map. When everybody talks outside of the United States, when everybody says what team is the team of MLS, it is the LA Galaxy. We are worldwide.
What is the place? I mean, what is the face that runs the place?
Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, man. I think the thing that bothered me the most, like you said, was seeing the celebration from MLS 360, and then seeing all those levas, in the crowd celebrating, and I was like, all right, celebrate now, you punk.
You know what though? What an interesting video, right? What an interesting thing to have ready. It's like if you were a conspiracy theory person and how like the league loves levas, what an interesting focus to have and to have ready.
Yeah,
Right?
There's the proof.
Yeah,
There's the proof.
I found that to be a little strange. It's just kind of like, huh? I mean, I get from like an outside perspective, it's kind of cool, like to capture those moments. But you're telling me like there wasn't like fucking Atlanta, and was it DC, right?
Atlanta and Orlando.
They didn't have anything ready for that.
Yeah. And that Atlanta game was pretty good. I actually watched the Atlanta game, and it was pretty intense.
And that's to make it to playoffs, right? We're both in already. And it's like it's very strange. To me, it's a strange thing to have queued up.
Oh, spray.
You got to speak in your British accent there because we got Will Ospreay on the pod.
Oh, spray. Yes. So Edgar, final thoughts on the season and on this match. I know this isn't the way that you get ready for the playoffs, but it is what it is.
No, I think I was listening to Josh. I think it was last week, and he said something interesting because a lot of people have been giving me a lot of guff because I've been for the longest time I was like, we're not back, we're not back. People are like, we're back, damn it, we're back, look at us, and I was like, it doesn't feel like we're back because every week is like a different challenge. Every week feels like they could lose a game, right? And nothing is guaranteed. And Josh said it's Josh. The way Josh said it was like it's like the Galaxy ran a gauntlet, right? Where it's true. I said that too at one point. I didn't see it like we're back. I saw it more like every week was a challenge because when you look back at not only what happened last year, but the last 10 years, you can't just erase that and forget all that negativity and just think to yourself, oh, just because they won a couple games here and there, we're back all of a sudden. Because in the back of your mind, you also think, are we the next Austin FC? Are we going to be like St. Louis City where they peaked and then they just fell apart? Um, but now you look at the team and you're like, they're set up to be pretty good in the future. But the one thing I really like about the team right now compared to last year is the depth. They have good players at every position that can take over if somebody gets hurt. And you only hope that when the playoffs start, they don't wait until the second half to do something, that they come in playing in there with that sense of urgency right from the get-go. Like my boy Dayon right here. Dayon, man, you gotta bring your game in the playoffs, man, because this last one, mm-mm. Don't mad mug me like that. Why's he looking at me like that? No. I'll give you a peachy folder later on. Not right now. Okay, back to Eddie. Eddie, take it away. This guy's bugging me, man. What the hell? I got bats and witches and now a bunch of flying Dayons? And now I can't hear anyone.
Everybody's muted. What the hell?
What the hell's going
Oh,
on,
that
Rudy?
that, that was that was my fault right there.
It's
Sorry.
Halloween season. Oh no.
It's Brian. Brian's still struggling over there. So, Brian, should I give my thoughts on this game? Give a thumbs up, and that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, cool. Wait, the game or the team? Both. The game. It is worrisome that we didn't step up and get playoff ready. Dayon worries me a lot, and like I said, this one was towards you. Oh, we don't need a striker. Yeah, we do. We do need a striker. Uh, it's Dayon shows up when he wants to, and that's not what we need, right? So as far as the team goes, there's enough there. There is enough there to make something special happen, and this is something that we talked about throughout the pod. And then if you go back from the beginning of the season and listen all the way through, well, I don't advise anybody to do it because that's not a great show. But the beginning of the season, I think we're high on Mark Delgado. Mark Delgado, right? He tailed off a little bit. Then it was Joseph Painsil. Joseph Painsil, we were so high on Joseph Painsil. And then Peck, right? And then Peck. And then Puj, Puj came in and he finally started, well, he wasn't the worst, but he stepped up his game and he cleaned up some of those bad decisions. But not once has his team been firing on all cylinders. Not once. There hasn't been a stretch and a run where, damn, Painsil, Peck, and Puj, Dayon for fucking lights out. Never. And you look at stats. Stats do lie sometimes. You look at some of these games where Painsil might have gotten a goal or Dayon might have gotten a goal. That's because everyone around them, built these goals for them and made and created these super easy opportunities that Miguel Berry might finish, but it's there. And I think a lot of it is maybe up to Vanny to figure out how to fire these guys up and get them ready for the playoffs. Because we need, in order for something special to happen, we need everyone firing on all cylinders. No, Brian, you're still dead.
Party. So there's a ton of Galaxy fans in there, right? And some point in the middle of the second half, I mean, throughout the whole night, a bunch of the locals were coming into the bar, right? They're like, oh, there's something different going on tonight. But at one point, these two guys walk in and they go all the way to the back.
Oh,
They look around and then they walk back out. And I remember I told Eddie, like the two guys muttered something as they're walking out, and I heard one of them say, "Thank goodness I didn't bring my LAFC hat tonight." Yeah, so
we
that's
should have
okay.
we should have moitered them.
Moiter them guys. Ah,
Hi-
well, on
How
to
you
the
doing
next
there?
one.
How you doing there, Brian? Give it a try. Nope, nothing yet. All right, back to me.
We can do awards.
I think so. I think should we do awards, Brian? Give us a thumbs up. It should be awards. All right, cool. We got awards going. You can also type, Brian. We have a private chat here. Thanks, dude. And keep playing with your mic, hopefully. All right, so let's do some awards. Edgar, you got any BJs you'd like to give out on this Sunday night? Cool. Go for it. Ooh.
Pizza. My God, this dude. I don't know what kind of mood. Oh, my
Producer of the
Oh,
year.
I don't know what kind of mood that guy was in, man, because he was on the ground like a lot, and he kept yapping at everybody. He was yapping at the players. He was yapping at the ref. It got to the point where at one point he actually got it was a legit foul on him, and the ref ignored it. And I'm like, dude, of course he ignored it because you've been throwing yourself on the ground like every second. There was at one point where Houston was trying to, I think they're gonna get a corner off or a set piece, and every time the defender got near him, like Pinto kept throwing himself to the ground. It became really bad. So and then he just looks so off. He looks so uncomfortable, and just whenever he did get the ball, he would just shoot it directly at the goalkeeper. Unfortunately, he didn't get that one goal that should have counted. But man, I just felt like that dude, he gets a BJ, man. Maybe he needs one.
Oh, Brian's back. Hey, Brian.
Yay, I'm back. Now I'm back. Before I give my BJ out,
Take her out to dinner first. Woo!
where's that horse? Nah, just kidding.
Bring out the horse. Bring out the gift.
You sure you can handle it, big boy?
I did want to mention before we got into the awards that Emilio Garces picked up a knock. I wasn't able to hear any of the post-game interviews with Vanny, so I'm not sure what's going on, but he did walk off gingerly when the game was finished, and that's a concern going into playoffs.
Yeah. I don't think it was. I think it was precautionary because I think he gets back up and it's actually not an instant sub.
Yeah, well, it could have been maybe like a muscle contusion or
he's like 20, bro. He's gonna
Charlie's horse. I know, but
he's gonna take some ibuprofen.
Across the street, man.
Yeah, he's gonna be okay.
Some ibuprofen.
Yeah, he's Colombia, 20 years old, bro. He can get hit by a bus and then come back in and play the next day.
All right, you guys gave out your BJs. Let me give you guys. Oh, you haven't?
No, I haven't given out my BJ yet. So for me, it's gonna be Dayon. Dayon, just inexcusable, especially the one where there was no keeper. There was no keeper, and then the very next one he whiffs it. It's not even a good effort. That's like the kind of things. And sorry, I'm not trying to drag his name, but that's kind of things where you see like Miguel Berry do it, and you're like, oh, I guess, but that's not acceptable from Dayon.
Your 15 goal scoring forward, and you mentioned earlier that we don't need a forward. We don't. We got Dayon. So.
Edgar, tell me, do we need a striker?
Yes.
You're the biggest Dayon fan.
Yeah, we do, man. You know what? I mean, I love Dayon, but a lot of those goals
yes too.
were served to him on a platter, man. Where all he had to do was just be in the right spot.
Well, he has 15 of those.
Him put it this way.
Chewy, do we need a striker? Hold on, let's settle this right here.
What?
Do we need a striker?
Yes.
Thank you. Chat, do we need a striker?
Yes.
Guti says yes. Chat, do we need a striker? Please chime in.
Let me put it this way: a healthy Chicha would bury like a lot more goals than that. Like a healthy Chicha would have 30 goals right now instead of just 15.
Yeah. Chiso doesn't even have 30 years. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway.
Just take your alpha.
Yeah,
Next
I'll take my
award.
L just like the LA Galaxy did. But in this
Yeah.
case, my BJ goes to. Can I give it to two people?
If you can handle it.
Hey,
Hey.
let's go now. I'm gonna give it to Vanny and Marco Royce. Vanny for the late sub of Marco Royce. Uh, even starting him was very questionable. Like we mentioned on this pod, and Eddie had mentioned it earlier. He seems to get outcoached by his peers and by certain coaches. In this match, it wasn't a must win because you were in the playoffs regardless. You needed to show that you were playoff ready, and in this match, your whatever tactics you used in this match were not working. Marco Royce for being really slow. Uh, he should know his body better, so he could have told the coach, "Hey, maybe I'm not ready for 70 minutes. Maybe I'm only good for 20. Just let me go in at the second half and let me get that run then." So those are the two guys that yeah, I have to give my bad job award to.
Damn.
Let's
Hey,
move on.
shout
Yeah.
out to Vanny in the chat that also agrees
See?
that we need a striker.
Damn it, Vanny.
Thanks, Greg.
Let's move on to the Game is
Even
Off
Chris
award.
Klein agrees, right?
The Game is Off award.
I'll just go first because I just you mentioned them already. I'm gonna go with Vanny. Right, everything I said. I think terrible decisions he made in the lineups. I was confused. I think I turned to Guti because I didn't get a chance to look at the lineup and like I think he read it to me and my brain didn't like process that Paintsale was start and Royce was starting.
Mhm.
And so when I looked up at the TV, I was like, "What the fuck? Like, this? Why? Why would you do this?" You know, I'm sitting here, but I don't think it takes a scientist to know that you didn't have to play your whole hand the way he did, and especially in a place like this, and knowing the history with this team and this rivalry. I guess we should start it right so we can fire these guys up. So this rivalry, uh, you had to be able to keep up with the pace and the intensity from the get go, and yeah, guys that had to focus on. Let me check make sure my fitness and my injury doesn't bother me, and at the same time trying to bring the intensity up and get playoff ready. Does not work. Does not work. So Vanny, game is off.
Shout out to Chris Klein for wanting a new forward too.
Oh, sick ass climb.
Oh, it's the dead horse.
Oh shit, he's not so dead after all.
Oh fuck, he's back.
I'm back.
Edgar, your Game is Off award.
Dayon. Dayon, dude. This is the game where like you want him to be pretty sharp, especially heading into the playoffs. And a game that has like a playoff atmosphere. Granted, the what we saw in the field didn't match the energy in the stands or the energy that we had in the pub where we were at. Um, you want to see your guys get up for these games because this is a team that you could run into in the playoffs, especially now, and that they're on this side of the bracket. So you want to see Dejan Joveljic go in there and uh, get some kind of performance that gives you a sense of urgency as you're heading into the playoffs. And instead, man, what a lackluster performance. It seemed like he had put things together just a couple of weeks ago, and all of a sudden we see this. It's just very disappointing. And I really hope that he gets it together because if not, I would not be surprised if the team lets him go in the offseason.
Oof. Well, good thing Wondolowski. I mean, Wondolowski. Lewandowski's gonna come over. Oh shit. Spooky. My Game is Off. I was torn between two players, Joseph Paintsill and Dejan Joveljic. But it seems like you two made the case for Dejan Joveljic having the Game is Off award. So I'm going to go with Joseph Painsil. He was ineffective during his match. I think the only clear chance he had was in that. Well, he had a goal that was kind of called off. Kind of. No, it was called off. But in the first half, that 1v1, when he had burned all the defenders, and he was he had to bang that in back of the net. We want you to be in playoff mode already, and what we saw with last night wasn't, and it wasn't just him. The whole team didn't look playoff ready, but in particular, Joseph Painsil, because you're our DP, you are on the attack, and we rely on you to put him in back of the net in order for us to get 3 points, and in this case, coming up to advance it to the next stage. So for me, it's going to be Joseph Painsil. All right, gentlemen. Let's go to the You've Got Hartman a win. What?
Hey, take it easy.
What?
You got
Yeah,
what?
yeah. You saw the horse and you got all flustered.
Hey, chill. The You've Got Hartman Award, the honorable mention. Ooh, spooky edition. Eddie, let's start with you.
Oh man. It's I don't know. The next two words for me are a little bit difficult. I'm just gonna say Yoshida. I think Yoshida had it's a little rough because I think he had a bit of a rough 2 moments, right? Big moments, but I think he was the one person that was giving it all because he did a lot. Or you know what? No, fuck that. I take it back. But shout out to him because the only reason I won't give it to him because there's two big crucial moments, right? He gets beat in the first header that leads to the first goal, and then he gets beat for the go ahead goal. But Garces, Garces was out there fucking stopping, and dude, the pace on that kid too. There was a play because you know we are supporters of Jalen Neal here, but Edgar. He was like in the beginning, he's like, I wonder what happened. I wonder what happened with Jalen. And I just, I was like, my honest opinion, he's just not ready. He's a little bit, soft still, and he's just not there yet, right? And then you look at a kid like Garces. There was a particular play where he caught up to the ball and full speed. He bodies a guy off the ball, and he's just yeah. And I turned to Edgar. I'm like, that's what happened to Jalen. That just Garces just is he's a solid guy that is still also green. So his ceiling is super high, and I think he plays with that intensity all the time. So my You Got Herman is gonna be for Garces.
What about you, Edgar?
I did it.
I'm gonna give it to Peck, and just because when he did get service, um, he tried his best to do something about it, but unfortunately, guy, he was kind of left out on the island. I mean, at one point, like we were wondering, like what the hell happened to Pack, right? I mean, I know at one point Chewy was asking what happened, where's Dayon because he completely disappeared off the field. But we were trying to watch Peck and trying to see if he would get any kind of service, and it wasn't really happening. Um, but the fact that he's able to step up and deliver a penalty kick for LA Galaxy, do you know how significant that is in a season which this team has missed so many penalty kicks? That means a lot, man. And so, give the team a lifeline and give everybody a false sense of hope. But hey, at least it was a fool's hope. Um,
Yeah.
but it's something, something.
For me, he's gonna be Gabriel Peck as well. Man keeps scoring goals, and I couldn't really recall if he was the one that stepped up for the PK. He's the one that asked for it, but Ricky wasn't bothered by it. Bagundes wasn't bothered by it. Brugman wasn't bothered. Everybody on the pitch, once they seen Gabriel Peck step into the penalty box and take that, I don't think anybody was bothered. I think everybody felt pretty confident, and so did I. And for a young man, for a 23-year-old kid who this is his first year in MLS, he's been destroying this league. Double-digit scoring, double-digit assists, cool, calm, and collected when it came to that penalty, and buries it. And he's been doing that all season. So aside from the season play that he's been spectacular in this match, he didn't get my next standing, but he's going to get the honorable mention from me. Gentlemen, it's coming down to the wire. The last regular season prestigious award, the next standing player of the match. Eddie, who is your next standing player of the match for this particular match on decision day?
Gabriel Peck. Gabriel Peck, the guy doesn't get fed. He works with what he's got, and yeah, it's a PK, but he figures out how to contribute. The man just leaves it out there, dude. Doesn't matter what everyone else around him is doing. He shows up, he puts in the work, and the man is the next standing player of the game. He's the next standing player of the year. He's the next standing player of next year. I could tell you right now. Spoiler. So
yeah. Gabriel Peck is amazing. Edgar, who is your next standing player of the match for this particular match?
No one. I refuse to give an outstanding award to anybody because nobody was outstanding to me at all.
Give it to yourself.
You are Nagby of the Year.
Thank you. Yeah. Next standing to Chewy for his wonderful production work.
Yeah, Chewy kicking ass right now, bro.
Yeah, this is the first time that I'm sure he's not playing Candy Crush.
Wonderful. I love it. See, I'm gonna give it to Emilio Garces. Eddie mentioned earlier that this kid is strong. He's fast. Every one-on-one he's had in these last few matches have been great. In this particular match, the fact that this center back is keeping up speed with they're smart with Latif Blessing, a small guy who's very pacey. He showed that he is here to stay. He is going to get that starting position next season if he's healthy. And that's a good thing for us. And it wasn't just this game. He's had, I think since we first saw him, we wanted to see more of him because we knew there was something there. We knew what he could be. And he hasn't even shown what he could be yet. He has a long way to go to be at his best, but he is showing great strides to being one of our best center backs. And in this particular match, he was legitimately our best center back. All right, gentlemen, we gave out awards. We got some creepy little spooks here with hats and jack-o'-lanterns, and there's a penguin. I like penguins. Why does he have a lollipop? Anyway, gentlemen, it's the end of the season. The LA Galaxy ended up in second place. Looks like we're going to be facing off against Colorado next Saturday, 8 p.m. match. Are you guys ready for this playoff to start?
Are we ready? Oh, we're ready. We already fucking charged us for our tickets, so we better be ready. But, so are we going to talk about the bracket, or should I just mention it now?
Yeah, just mention it now, and then we'll get more in depth in the next episode.
If you, I don't know if Chewy has you queued up or, well, I'm not going to be in the midweek, so I guess I'll go. So I made the jokes about and Edgar did too about the 3D chess and the mastermind and everything, but Vandy had no control over everything else that went on in the league. If you look at it, the way things went, maybe it did go our way, right? And what a fucking opportunity, because I think now it's a rebuild season, right? We went from no playoffs to second place in the West, right? Obviously, we're disappointed, but it's a big accomplishment. It's a huge leap forward. But now you look at the performance, you look at what's in front of you, and for me at least, it's conference final or bust.
Yeah,
right?
there are no excuses.
Yeah, everything you've done to this point, and if you want to give us the argument that they're back, conference final and fuck it, it hurts to maybe like have to lose it to levels or whatever. But we, if like something like that were to happen, but for me, it's like that's where this team is at, given the path that they have now. But next year coming in, assuming that Kuntz gets back in the kitchen, there needs to be that serious feeling and make it to MLS Cup or bust kind of feeling going into next season. So, how do I feel about going into the playoffs? I feel a little concerned because of the performance we just showed. But then you look at one, we get Colorado, and Colorado's injury list is actually it's pretty fucked up. They're in a pretty bad situation, so there's no reason why that can't be taken advantage of, and we can't roll over Colorado. And then we get to host either Salt Lake or Minnesota. I'm personally not worried about those two teams in a one-off at home. So yeah, I feel optimistic, but still not ready to love again. Still scared to love again. So
Yeah.
I
And
would
that goes back
say,
to that this past decade, right?
yeah, yeah. So for me, ready. And now my mentality is conference final or bust.
Edgar.
I just want to point out that as soon as the game ended, the Galaxy game, I sent a message to our good buddy Matt Pollard. He covers Colorado, and I said, and just like that, hello, buddy. And he wrote back to me, I need an Advil. Because Colorado, they have now lost 5 of the last 6 matches. And that's really concerning for them because at one point they actually had a legitimate chance to challenge Galaxy for the top spot in the West. And then they suffered 2 straight home losses, and that I think that broke them, and they haven't been the same since. And so we're facing a team that is hurting a lot, not just on the field, but just psychologically speaking. Right, things did not go the way that they expected. I know at one point people were saying, "Wow, Colorado's a lot, is a lot better." It's kind of like the LA Galaxy; they rebuilt, and they came back a lot sooner than people expected. But they have not been good the last couple of months, and which just gives me a bit of pause because what do we always say, Eddie? A wounded animal is very dangerous thing, right?
You want me to add a little bit more to that too?
Go for it.
Okay, you can draw parallels from this upcoming game to the last time we played Colorado. That's a team we should have beaten, and we had a star-studded on paper team, and they had a fucking designated player goalkeeper, and the U.S. men's national team, I guess ex-U.S. men's national team goalkeeper at the time, in Tim Howard.
Yeah.
And now it kind of feels like, oh shit, we're kind of in this same situation. Are we gonna be? I remember where I was too, watching them lose. They held a viewing party inside the stadium, so I was watching inside the stadium, not at the Champions Plaza, like inside the stadium. Like we were watching that big ass screen, and when we go to PKs, so that's also a thing. And I don't mean to put that out in the universe, but it's in my mind. So fuck it, you guys have to share it with me too. I have to take
Boo. I didn't like that. And that match, well, in that game, the only person that made their penalty was Steven Gerrard. Imagine that. The old guy that everybody hated.
That's why Royce is going to be. There you go, and then Royce is going to be the only guy. Look, again, that's another parallel. Now we have another European guy that a lot of people didn't want.
Put the energy
Yeah,
out there.
what are you doing? What are you doing, Eddie? Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, no, but obviously, definitely, there is no like Eddie was saying earlier. They have a good path to get to the conference final, and there are no excuses why this team cannot make it to at least to the conference final. I know that. Put the bracket up, please, real quick, because I just wanted to point out some of the teams that are on the LAFC side. Um, Seattle is on fire right now. Houston, you just saw what they did to LA Galaxy, and then you look at the other one, Vancouver, Portland. Man, that sucks for Vancouver. I think if you saw my Twitter, I posted that I don't know, like a year ago or something. BC Place scheduled a motocross, a supercross for BC Place, and they get to host this game against Portland. But no, they can't play it at BC Place. Just so anybody's wondering, the stadium is owned and operated by the province of British Columbia, so it's not owned by the team or the city or anything like that. So
What?
it's out of their hands,
But
and
honestly, what a fucking joke, though, right?
it is a joke. You know what makes it worse? They have two teams from the Canadian Premier League that play in the region. There's Vancouver FC and Pacific FC, and they have stadiums. And at one point, Vancouver Whitecaps were like, "Well, what about these two stadiums?" And MLS is like, "They're not up to our standards." Right,
Ah,
and so now the Vancouver Whitecaps are forced to play a home game in Portland. And this is it's a reminder that Portland is a rival to Vancouver because they're part of that old
Cascadia.
Cascadia Cup
Yeah.
rivalry. So now if you're LAFC, right, and you got to play against Portland, man, that's a team that's really good right now. That's scary. And I'm saying Portland because I don't see Vancouver winning this in this situation. So LAFC's gonna have to run the gauntlet through Portland, and whoever in Seattle and Houston comes out of there, and then run up against probably LA Galaxy in the end. And that is if Seattle or Houston take out LAFC, which is very possible because Houston did defeat LAFC at home this year.
yeah, and Seattle has done it to them as well at their house and other playoff matches. It's going to be an interesting run at these playoffs. I'm ready. I'm ready.
So I mean,
Galaxy has
what are
to take
you
care of
what are
business,
your
though.
what are
They
your thoughts
gotta
though?
take care of business. Go ahead.
What are your
This
thoughts, Brian?
is. I see it on paper. It seems like the easier road for the LA Galaxy, but seeing how Eddie just kind of threw that out in the universe and kind of jinxed it, it doesn't make me feel as good as I should be feeling coming into the playoffs. But then again, I'll probably wake up tomorrow and be like, man, you know what? We're about to steamroll Colorado. It doesn't matter who we got in front of us. I think the LA Galaxy shouldn't care who is in front of them. They should be wanting to steamroll any team in front of them right now in these playoffs, especially in a 3-game series. You get one at home, get one away, and you got some time to rest. The I'm pretty sure that Portland's going to give the first place team in the West a run for their money. I'm pretty sure Seattle and Houston are going to go all 3 games. I'm sure RSL and who's the other one? Minnesota are going to go all 3 games. So this is a great opportunity for the LA Galaxy to step up and show that they can make something special happen this season.
And I think they should. And I think at least I think it's gonna happen. I think they make it to the conference final. After that, obviously we don't know. It's a one off. But I know I mentioned sorry, I mentioned the last time they played Colorado in the playoff, but also what I failed to mention is what was going on already. This was the beginning of the end, I guess you want to say, of this galaxy, this rich galaxy culture. This was the beginning of fucking Chris Klein's dirty handprints, So it was different in the locker room. It was different in the front office. So I think I'm pretty confident. Like if I had to, bet the house on something, I think we do roll over Colorado, especially given their injury issues. I think that Houston game is going to be a kick in the ass, and I feel like the win against Colorado should launch us and make us confident against either Minnesota or Salt Lake. They could bring it. They don't really strike fear, and then again conference final for me. That's I want it all. Quiero sexto, pero uh, to me that's an accomplishment. That's a successful now at this point. I mean, it is. We're spoiled. At this point, it is already a successful season for the Galaxy, but it's satisfying, I guess, if we make it to the conference final.
Reading, right? This is who are we? This is not the usual nag. I mean, think back. I'll bring it up again. Think back to like I think one of the first or second. I think it was the first episode of the season, and we looked at the first few games, right? And we're like, okay, are we gonna win this one? No. Are we gonna win this one? No. Oh, okay, we might get a draw on this one. Oh yeah, we're definitely beating the Quakes, and then this one, no. And then you look back and you're like, you know what? we were wrong, and that's okay.
but we missed the cue on some other ones I didn't expect.
Yeah, but the fact that I mean, can you blame us though? You can't blame us at all.
No.
But now we look at what this team has accomplished, and you can't fault us either for being optimistic about what could happen. Correct?
Yeah. Well, if we got nothing else to say for tonight, I think we could wrap it up with that. I forgot what I was gonna say. Eddie, you have anything else before we leave?
Nah.
Nope.
Be careful with Dayan over there.
Edgar, you have anything else before we leave?
No, just keep an eye out for our midweek show with Matt Pollard, and
Yes.
also I know that Danny, who runs the MLS Battered Fans podcast, he had mentioned to me that once the playoff brackets were set, he's probably gonna reach out to me to have me on there also as a panelist. So I'll let you guys know if I hear back from him or anything about that, because it's always fun to talk MLS with other MLS people as well.
With that candy corn though.
Yeah, right. I love candy corn, baby.
All right, where can the people find you, Edgar?
You guys can find me on Twitter as Edgar Nags, also on Instagram. Eddie?
Find me in real life. Find me at the stadium. Follow Puzzle PZZL. Get your shirts. Get your Sexto shirts. Ghetto Sexto.
Quiero
Right.
el sexto. You can find me as Bryant Nags on Instagram and X. Chuyaso, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me as Chavez JA, Chavez Ha on all my socials. It's pretty easy, pretty simple to find.
Yeah, he said the thing. He
Yeah!
said the thing.
Say the line, Chewy.
Cowabunga.
Aw,
I didn't do it. Come on, take us home, bro. What a disappointment.
I
I
know.
didn't do it. Because he didn't do it. All right, y'all. This has
I
been
didn't
another
do it.
episode of News Across the Galaxy, the season-ending episode, but the postseason is still around the corner. Actually, next week. So that does it from myself, Eddie, Nag Boy of the Year, Edgar, Producer of the Year, Chewy. We're gonna get up out of here, and as always, keep on nagging.
Wu-Tang for life, baby.
Keep on nagging.
Cholo Dayan.